Business.
Aircraft manufacturing. Aerial bombardment. Boeing takes off on a flight of hypocrisy against Bombardier.
We won't do business with a company that is busy trying to sue us. So said an uncharacteristically stern Justin Trudeau, Canada's Prime Minister, alongside his British counterpart, Theresa May, in Ottawa on September 18th. The two had teamed up to take on Boeing. The giant American aeroplane maker is pressing Donald Trump's administration to impose duties on commercial jets made by Canada's Bombardier. Boeing says its smaller rival is using Canadian government subsidies to sell aircraft to Delta, an American carrier, at below cost price. Few in either country question that Bombardier has had vital financial support from the Canadian and British governments since 2005 for its small jetliner, the C-Series. As the plane's development costs soared to $5.4 billion, Bombardier struggled to find buyers for it. Financial trouble followed. An estimated $4 billion Canadian dollars, that's $3.4 billion US dollars, in state support, including $2.8 billion Canadian dollars in 2015, stopped a nosedive. It was not until 2016 that the aircraft's future seemed assured, when Delta ordered 75 units. Boeing then accused Bombardier of dumping the jets into America at absurdly low prices and asked the Commerce Department to impose countervailing duties. A preliminary ruling is due on September 25th. Aircraft makers are no strangers to subsidy disputes. Brazil, home to Embraer, which makes a rival to the C-Series, has complained to the World Trade Organization, or WTO, about Bombardier. But Boeing is a particularly active litigant, not only against Bombardier, but against Airbus, which it says got billions of dollars of cheap loans from the EU. Naturally, Boeing itself got billions of dollars of help in the form of military contracts to get off the ground back in the 1950s and 1960s. Nor does it have a plane that competes with the C-Series. Boeing says it wants a level playing field, but it is not even on the field, spits Fred Cromer, president of Bombardier Aerospace. That may be problematic, as industries usually need to show material injury to gain protection from anti-subsidy duties. Boeing has not made planes the size of the C-Series since 2006, notes Ed Bastian, Delta's chief executive, and has no plans to do so. Instead, Boeing offered to lease us second-hand planes built in Brazil, he says. And when Boeing accused Bombardier of selling its planes to Delta for less than they cost to build, it appeared to forget that it did the same with over 300 of its 787 jets. Furthermore, its estimate of the cost of the C-Series was inflated by looking at only 1 year early in the production life cycle. Even so, at the Commerce Department, Boeing may be pushing on an open door. Wilbur Ross, the Commerce Secretary, has imposed countervailing duties on imports ranging from steel plate from South Korea to tool chests from China, and has angered Canada by placing a levy of up to 24% on its softwood lumber. Boeing has reasons to guard against Bombardier. First, it fears encirclement by state-subsidized aircraft makers, not only Airbus and Bombardier, but ambitious state-supported Chinese and Russian producers. Second, Bombardier might grow into another Airbus, a rival Boeing did not take seriously until it was too late. Bombardier could stretch its fuel-efficient C-Series planes to challenge Boeing's smallest airliner, a big earner for the American firm, but based on an old design. Strangling the baby in the pram may prove rather convenient, says an advisor close to Boeing. In the meantime, Mr. Trudeau and Mrs. May are both lobbying Mr. Trump on Bombardier's behalf, and Canada is likely to appeal in the courts and at the WTO. If Boeing gets its way, about 3,500 jobs will be threatened in Quebec, where Canadian politicians are wary of stirring up separatist sentiment, and a further 4,500 in Northern Ireland, where Bombardier is the largest private sector employer. Mrs. May's Conservative government is propped up by the 10 MPs from the province's Democratic Unionist Party. Bombardier lies in East Belfast, the party's heartland. Canada has also threatened to cancel a likely $5 billion order of military jets from Boeing if the American company prevails against Bombardier. Britain could follow its lead. Several airlines, fearing less competition among plane makers, are unhappy with Boeing's behaviour and privately threaten to shun its jets if it continues to bully its smaller rival. This may be the trade case that ends up costing Boeing much more than it has to gain.